let's see how blockchain technology can actually earn you interest on your savings and not in like some weird scam way. Let's get into it. What is going on, Savages? Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for hanging out and actually allowing me to talk about crypto a little bit, or talk about crypto with me. That's great, because that's what I do this. That's why I do this, because nobody else talks crypto with me. So yeah, this is going to be cool. Last night I did a video, or yesterday sometime during the day, I think. I forget exactly when it was, but it was yesterday. And it was during the hard fork of Conceal, and they were just implementing some features mainly to do with deposits and their banking features. So I did a video, and during the video was actually when they forked, so it was kind of cool. At the end we got to see the fork actually happen, but I realized after the fact that I kind of missed a couple of things that I probably should have done. Like after the fork, I should have like demonstrated, you know, what the update was actually implementing, the capabilities. So I figured I would just do a little follow on tonight and show that information. I think it'll be kind of cool. Yeah, so let's look at what is going on. I'm not going to interact with the chat too much, but let me make sure that, I mean, I'm looking at my levels, everything looks good, so you guys should hear me. But I'm going to check the chat real quick and see. What is up, Red Panda? What's up, Donald Walter? Yeah, let me know if sound and everything is good. I think it is. I mean, according to my levels over here, I'm good. So, all right. Yeah, I did the video last night, like I was saying. Yeah, I don't really want to rehash that, but it was pretty informative. It was 44 minutes long, so, you know, again, I missed a couple of things in there. It was a little bit longer than I wanted it to be. So I'm going to try to shorten this one up, make it kind of concise. So let's take a look at Conceal again. I know everybody knows for a fact that I'm a Conceal fan, right? And it's not sponsored content or nothing like that. It's just I really like this project a lot. I think that what they've got going is great, and there's not a whole bunch of competitors to this particular aspect of, you know, HTLC, the hash time lock contracts, and actually doing it in a I'm not going to say the word, but you understand you probably get what I'm saying. I like seeing this implemented, you know, as a feature, banking feature. You know, they're kind of changing into, they were going to, I think they were going to be called like a banking or online economy, I think is what their term was. It looks like they've gone back to banking references, you know, banking on the blockchain, which I think is kind of cool. But they've done a lot of updates to the website from what I can tell here, and it actually looks really good on the web. They've done, like I said, a lot of updates because they had to change around their terminology or their indications of deposit, their banking features. They had to change that around because they used to have deposits and investments, and there were two different things. Kind of, they work about the same way, but we'll get into why they actually changed that in a moment. But the website's looking great. I'm digging it a lot more than the older one. It does look better. It's got some navigation, you know, still really good. Like you got this little button over here that you just pop back up to the top. I like that. The apps, so it's got all their different features here, about, info, you know, they got some good links here, and some of the stuff is not redundant because you have different things over here, but it looks like they've cleaned this up a little bit. I think that before there was some of the same links that were over here. So yeah, it looks like they're definitely working on this and trying to improve the user experience here. So that is really cool. All right, and it also looks good, believe it or not. It also looks good on mobile. So here's mobile, and it organizes really well on mobile. Whoops, I hope I didn't click that. So everything is organized really well. It looks very similar to the desktop, so that is nice. Very cool stuff. So it looks good on both. I like that. That's an improvement. All right, so what exactly is Conceal? Conceal is I like to describe them as a community-driven, decentralized, privacy-focused blockchain bank using deposits that pay interest rates on coins you cold stake without involving a third party such as financial institutions. So that's just my little elevator pitch on what CCX actually is. Now, on the they basically have three main, or let's see, they have three main focus areas, which are transaction privacy, interest earning cold staking, and encrypted messaging. Now the messaging is something that they're definitely working on. They're going to get it working on the cloud and mobile. I don't remember exactly how far along they are with that. I don't have my cloud account open right now, or else I could check that. But since this isn't about the messaging part of it, we will just skip right over that part. But just know that encrypted messaging is part of their feature set, but their main thing is the interest earning cold staking. And this is a pretty old, I think this is whenever they first released, or they first announced. This is their Medium article from back in June of 2018. It's a really good overview, real quick. Not too much has changed, but whenever you get into the investments and deposits down here, this is what has really changed a lot with Deposits 3.0. You can see here that they talk about two different ways. They talk about deposits and investments, two different things, two different requirements, two different interest rates, two different everything. So this is what they have merged these two together to hopefully create a system that makes more sense and is more accessible to more people, or it is accessible to more people. So let me post that link to the Medium article in the chat. Hey, what's up, Crypto Jason and Deadwood? Deadwood, did you get your bricked GPU working? Hopefully. Let me know over there in the chat. All right, so that is basically a quick overview of what Conceal actually is. So let's check out their What to Mine real quick. So on What to Mine, they are listed and they are active, which is nice because you can use this to calculate hash rates and potential profits. So we'll cover this real quick. You can see that the algorithm, they have their own algorithm, which kind of makes them somewhat, you know, the way that you have to look at this, whenever a project, especially a small project, has their own algorithm, then oftentimes that is some level of protection against ASICs or FPGAs, because if it's its own algorithm and you have to program it for that one algorithm, program the FPGA or design an ASIC for it, for one specific algorithm, then it's usually, if it's a low market cap coin, then it's usually not worth it, right? To actually go through the effort of creating a bit stream for an FPGA or creating a, you know, the silicon for an ASIC, right? So it's just not financially smart, fiscally responsible. It is not. So they created their own algorithm. Now, if this coin went to the moon and, you know, was super profitable and it made sense, then you better believe that an ASIC would be created for it and an FPGA most likely. So just keep that in mind. You know, it is a privacy coin that uses Kryptonite, Kryptonote. So they probably would focus on not being ASIC'd, right? So something to just kind of think about. You can see here that their block times are 2 minutes. We kind of covered that last night or yesterday during the forking. We had to wait, you know, some minutes there. I think we had about 12 minutes or 8 minutes to wait before the fork happened, once I was done with my little Conceal spiel there. And let's see here, they got the block rewards are actually increasing for a while. I don't know how much longer they have. There's charts on their website for that, but it's actually increasing block rewards as time goes on. I think every month it increases by 0.25, I think. So a quarter more every month, I believe is the way it works. So you got difficulty here, net hash, you got some info on the exchanges and overall market cap, which this has actually gone up quite a bit. in the past 3 or 4 days. I believe that they started about a week or so ago. I think that they were down in the 500,000 range, if I'm not mistaken. They have experienced a little bit of a pump here recently, so maybe that would explain, you know, the incoming market cap, or the increase in the market cap. All right, so let's take a quick look at what we're doing here, because I've been mining, the group of us, these are co-owned rigs here, and we've been mining CCX for quite some time. You can see here we've got 12.62 and 13.59, and that is pretty steady, non-stop for many months. So let me add those up real quick, because we'll just do some real quick calculations. I know you guys like the mining aspect of everything, so let me do this. I'm just adding those two numbers up real quick just to get an exact amount. So it's 26.21, and then my specific rig, that's 26.21 plus, I'm doing CCX over here at 13.44. So I'm looking at 39, we'll just call it 40. Okay, so I'm looking at 40 kilohash, right? So 40 kilohash, just to round it up a little bit. So if we go over here, not there, right here. So we say we are looking at 40,000 hash, right? And then we want to add up our power. So I'm going to look at my I've got the smart plugs, so I can monitor the power consumption at the wall, and this is per rig. It's not something that is, this app is going to start. Looks like it's going to have a problem here. All right, so yeah, I'm mining it on. So if we look at the apps here, or the different rigs here, so you got, this is going to be Dagobah, so we're going to look at that one real quick. We'll add these up. So it's pulling 8, we'll say 900. So 900 on that rig. Mustafar, 850. So 1750. And then on my rig, Scarif, so it's 1750 plus 950. 1750 plus 950. I'm not good at math. Live. 1750 plus 950 equals 2700. That's 2700 watts at the wall total. I'm running at 11 kilowatt hours per kilowatt hour. Block reward is 9.5. Not gonna worry about the fees or anything like that. Oh wow, BTC is pumping here. That's good to see. All right. Let's see. So we're going to calculate, and then we are going to end up seeing that we are basically losing about $2.30 per day. Now, with these 3 rigs. Now that's with 3 rigs. So 3 different wallets that I'm mining to. So if I were to take the time to, instead of mining and supporting the network, supporting a project that I like and that I want to support in a very altruistic manner right now, because actually losing money, right, per day. It says that we're going to earn about 33 a day with these 3 rigs, losing about $2.33 a day. So in my mind, I can resolve to that being okay at this point, because it would take me longer time and worth more of my time than $2.33 for me to go to an exchange, buy the equivalent, and then have that put into the appropriate wallets for each rig, right? If I was going to do it the most correct way, which would be to disseminate it the same way that I would have been earning it by mining, right? I guess that's one way you could do it. You don't have to do it that way, but so in my mind right now, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with losing 233 because I think that the project is good and it's going to increase in value over time. So if I'm looking at 32 per day right now, and that's what we're looking at right here. So I'm going per day. Well, let's just go a whole month. Let's just go out a month. So we'll just say that right now, based on what we've put in up here as the calculator, we should earn about 230 per month. Okay, so if I think that CCX or whatever project, you could apply this to whatever project you want. If you think that it is going to go up soon or in the future to a certain number, you know, let's just call it $1. Okay, it did go up to an all-time high of 86 cents in July, and then it's fallen just steady with the whole overall market all the way down to, I think they got down in the 9-cent range or something like that, and I think they're at like 14 something or 15 something now. You know, do I think it can get back to 86 cents? Absolutely, very easily. That's why I kind of threw out the dollar out there. Not financial advice, of course. This is just me, some random idiot on the internet talking about this project. But if I think that it's going to be $1, then you can see that you know, you can resolve by saying, all right, today if I think it's going to be $1 in the future, then today I actually made $33, right? Or wouldn't have made it, but made about $25 minus the electric. So that's the way you kind of have to, I mean, you don't have to look at it like that. I'm just saying that's how I look at it. And it might just be my crazy guerrilla math in my head that I'm actually, you know, somehow able to compute this out and make it look like it's worth it. But at this point, $2.33 on 3 rigs and the management wanting to support the project, I'm good with it. I'm good with it at this point. Maybe not for forever. I couldn't do this forever. Like if a whole, you know, if a whole other year goes by and it's still 233 a day, you know, in the negative, then I would probably have to call it quits at some point during that year. Anyway, all right. So I'm getting like totally off track here. If we go to but I did want to kind of show you that because this is a pretty good example of, you know, the status of mining these days, you know, especially with older cards like I have. These are all RX 580s. Every last one of them. Actually, 2 of them are RX 570s, and I've got RX 580s. So that's pretty much all I have here. Which for the price, you know, you can get an RX 580, a decent RX 580 for $105, $110, maybe even a little bit less right now. So those could be actually worth it, you know. Depending on how you look at it. Okay, so enough of that. Let's look at their coin market cap. Let me go back over. I meant to just refresh that. Sorry about that. All right, so yeah, they're about 14.5 cents. And what I thought was really cool is they actually have broken down under 1,000 on the rank, but at the same time, what does that actually mean? Because their market cap didn't go up a whole lot, right? What that kind of means is that a lot of the alts, because it's ranked by market cap, right? So if you think about if a project that used to be, you know, above 1,000 or lower than 1,000, now it has gained a little bit of market cap, but it's jumped up quite a bit in the market cap rankings. Then and at the same time, BTC dominance has actually gone up. Then you can kind of see how that kind of makes me feel like there's a lot of alts that are just bleeding out. And I think that you can see that kind of across. Now, I don't know what's going on today. It looks like some good stuff is going on today, but you know, just from my perspective, it seems like the lower level, the lower ranking alts are probably losing against BTC, I guess is the way to look at it. So I don't know. I'm not a trader. I don't keep up with it that much, but I'm just, in my mind, that's the way it looks. All right, so let's see, they're ranked 925. They got a market cap of about 800,000. Actually went down a little bit since the last time I was looking at it. The volume is 140,000, which if you look at the volume, I'm not a fan of that volume. And what I mean is, I don't know, if you go to the Hotbit, they have a huge amount of volume. And the next one, Trade Ogre, which is their bread and butter exchange, in my opinion, I like Trade Ogre a lot for, you know, these altcoins like this. They get really low volume compared to Hotbit. So make of that what you will, but I don't know. I find it a little odd, so I'll just leave it at that. And then they've got a circulating supply of 5.5 million, and the total supply is 15.2 or so million. Now, the reason that is like that is because a large portion of their total supply is actually locked up, right? So you got 9.6 million CCX, 64% is actually locked up, cold staked, out of circulation, right? Which is awesome, because that, you know, the less that's in circulation, the more valuable the ones that are in circulation should become, right? So yeah, that's huge. I mean, 64% is actually locked up. So that's super cool, and we'll get into that in a minute. I know I'm kind of droning on about all this stuff, but I will get to it. Let me check the chat real quick, see if y'all are yelling at me over here. Let's see here. Oh, I gotta read. I'm not gonna be able to read all this Deadwood right now. I will read it after the fact, though. I'm glad. I don't know if you're saying that you got it. Okay, so you gave up. Never mind. So I don't know. All right, we'll still we'll work with you on that. Basically, Deadwood has he's got a dead GPU, so we were trying to help him with it. All right, so let's look at what is going on with the actual deposit. So I went over the Explorer real quick. Their website is super slick. You know, dashboard, Explorer, everything looks, you know, the same. It's very cool. Now, as far as the actual deposits 3.0 goes, let's talk about this for a minute. I'm going to read a little bit from their website here. This is actually from the Medium article. This was from November 15th of 2019, whenever this was actually announced. Okay, this is super cool information. Super cool the way that they do this. And one thing I have to say this: these guys are like wizards when it comes to financial stuff. If you follow them in Discord, or if, again, this is not sponsored, I'm saying this from my heart. If you go into their Discord and you listen to them and you see what they're talking about and how they came up with this solution for deposits and interest rates and all the complications, all the complicated math that goes into this, and it's really fascinating. Super smart folks on this project. So yeah, just had to say that. Anyway, so I didn't have to say it. I wanted to say it. So with the concealed desktop wallet, and this is from their website here, or from the Medium post, and very soon with the cloud and mobile wallets too, I don't know how far along they are with that, you can choose to lock up any amount on your CCX holdings as a deposit in the blockchain and earn interest on it. The annual interest rates vary from 2.9 to 6, and that was a big change from the previous way that they used to do it. And I have videos on the old way too. So if you go to my channel and then go to playlist and then go to CCX, whoops, that's not what I meant to do. Then go to here, stop that. Go to this Conceal.Network playlist. There are, I think I went through it. It wasn't that long ago. Let's see here. Full staking overview right here. So this one I went over, and it looks like this one too. These two went over the whole banking, and so you could, if you wanted to get an idea of where they started or where they came from, the deposits 2.0, you can go and check those videos out. So just do that if you're so inclined. So anyway, that was a big change, the 2.9 to 6%, depending on how long you choose to lock your deposit and the amount locked. The bigger the amount and the longer your deposit is locked, the higher the annual effective interest rate you will receive. So once you made a deposit on the blockchain for a certain amount of time, it is locked in until that time, and you can't access your savings. So it's a HTLC, or a hash time lock contract, totally private, encrypted, and secured by the blockchain. There's no third parties involved in the process. You set up your own terms for the contract privately and anonymously in a trustless environment and without any third party involved. No one can see how much you're cold staking or for how long. Okay, so those are important things to note about this particular project. So let me scroll my notes over here. So as I was saying earlier, I mean, these devs do a ton of homework on the financial aspects of this. They came up with, basically they came up with 3 tiers. Actually, let me cover this real quick. So the first generation of deposits was basically like a basic normal interest rate model that had no compounding. So it says right here, you know, the problem with it was people ended up depositing low amounts of funds for the minimum period of time allowed, which, as you saw earlier, whenever you're trying to take some out of circulation to not secure the network, but to possibly increase the value. It's not really the goal to increase the value, but you understand what I'm saying. So what the devs would be trying to do is get more staked, cold staked, right? So that there's less in circulation. And that first deposits 1.0, they didn't have compounding, and people were just staking for a short amount of times, small amounts, right? So it really didn't help the project or meet any of the requirements that they were going for with the whole CD or banking, you know, on the blockchain situation. So it just didn't work very well. So that's what led them to version 2.0. They tried to fix it by introducing compound interest. The problem was with that, people were depositing bigger amounts, but the duration did not improve very much. The majority of deposits kept being locked for lower periods, and that actually favored people that had more CCX. Like if you had 50,000, you could do an investment, and then that got you, which was a different interest rate. It's like 7.62, I think. So that got you more CCX. So it was a huge favoritism to the larger holders, right? So the little guys, the little fish or minnows or whatever you want to call them, were kind of not pushed out, but they weren't rewarded, you know, in the same level or the same specifications as the larger holders. So they redid it. They had to go back, and this was in their consensus last year. They voted on it, came up with Concealed Deposits 3.0. So that is what we are talking about tonight. So they really wanted simplicity, you know, to be a factor. They also wanted to be fair and accessible to more people, and also have better rates. So that was the challenge, to have equitable rewards where you earn more when you lock more and for longer. So they had to figure out an APR, or an annual percentage rate, for each tier. So they first came up with the tier. So they're saying, okay, if you have less than 10,000, I think that this means 10,000, or yeah, I would assume that this is 10,000 or less. It might be 9999. I don't know, but this is a little weird because, like, right here it's got 10,000 also. So maybe it's 10,000 or less, and then this is 10,000. Well, you know what? It's probably because there's decimals, right? So if your first number is 10,000 or less, then you're in tier 1. If it's 10,000 or more, then you're in tier 2. Okay, so that makes sense. But so you can see right here, they did kind of knock it down by 1. I don't know. This kind of throws me off a little bit. But you can see here that now, to get the max interest rate, the top tier has been reduced to 20,000 CCX, which before it was 50,000, right? So before you had to have 50,000 to cold stake as an investment, and now you only have to have 20,000. So let's do some math real quick. If you wanted to be a top tier, a tier 3 level at, bring up the calculator over here. So if you want to be a top tier level here, or top tier 3 level at was it 145, I think is what they're at right now, 14.5 cents times 20,000. Take about almost 3 grand, and you would be at that top tier level, right? So that's affordable. That's not terrible, right? Not everybody has that much money sitting around, but you could do it, and you could actually mine it as well. I think if I was to add up all that we've mined, yeah, that's a good question. I'll have to do some math and figure that out, but there's a good chance that we've mined. I don't know. I don't want to say that we mine that much, but anyway. All right. Let's see here. So then, after they did the tiers, they figured out these 3 tiers. They had to apply an APR, an annual percentage rate, to those tiers. So you can see right here, you got tier 1 is 2.9, and that's the base annual percentage rate. Tier 2 is 3.9, and then tier 3 is 4.9. Okay, that's pretty easy to remember. Having determined those features, taking our compounding into account, you come up with an effective annual rate. You can see that right here. Nice little chart. So the maximum you could earn per year in tier 1 would be 4% if you did the whole 12 months, right? And that's another thing, like each section here it's annual, right? And so it's 12 months that you're going to be staking. So this number down here, I believe the red number here would be at a 12-month mark. So if you staked 20,000 CCX for 12 months, you would end up with 6%. And the cool thing is that, you know, since it is an HTLC, a hash time lock contract, then whenever you first stake it, cold staked, it's done on the chain, right? So there's you don't have a VPS, you don't have to leave your wallet open and connected to the network or anything. Once it's done, it is a part of the blockchain. You don't have to leave anything on, it's just done. And the cool thing is that whenever you stake it, it immediately applies that percentage to it, right? So you can see what you've earned, but then it's locked. So you can't get access to it. You can see it in your wallet, but you cannot access it because it's a hash time lock contract. So very cool technology right there. I like that. All right. So if you look back at the website here, they do have, because some of these terms can be a little bit difficult to remember. They've got a little chart right here. APR, EAR is effective annual rate, because like I said, I'm not some financial wizard like these guys are. And then EIR is effective interest rate, and that's based on the amount and duration of the deposit. TEA is total earning amount. So if you apply it to a chart, it says this simple model translates itself in the following compound interest rates table. So this is really cool. This is a great little chart here that shows you basically what your percentage rate is, or your EIR and your EAR, based on how much you're staking, which tier you're in, and with the maximum, right? So it's really cool to look at it like this. So you say, they give an example here. Okay, so in practical terms, if you deposit the amounts on these examples, you will get the following earnings. So for an example here, tier 1 that deposits 5,000. Let me see if I can zoom this up a little bit here. Yeah, so tier 1 that deposits 5,000. The maximum that you would earn effective annual rate is 4%. So this is each month, right? Whoops. This is each month, right? So this is the month. So if you were to go to all the way out to 12 months, if you were to stake it for 12 months, then you would get 4%, and you would end up, your 5,000 that you staked would end up being 5,200. Right? So hopefully this makes sense. And then you can see how if you have more, 10,000, you're looking at 10,500 at the end of the 12 months, and all the stages in between. And then, the big dog over here at 20,000, 6%, and you would end up with 21,200, right? So that's just a real quick overview, but it's a great chart, you know, to show you what your percentages are going to be based on your tier level. So very cool. They did a great job, and I know that they worked on this really hard because, you know, there's a lot of factors, right? There's emission, there's circulating supply, there's all kinds of different things that go into this formula. They don't want to wreck the project, right? They don't want to ruin it by implementing something that is going to essentially destroy it, right? So it takes some planning, it takes some serious planning, and you got to figure out, you know, there's some psychology to it too, you know, how people are going to use the system that you're implementing too. So it's all that stuff comes into play. I mean, kudos to these guys. I mean, it's freaking amazing what they've done. So I think it's cool. Let's go ahead. So that's the charts. Let me just make sure I'm covering everything I want to. Another thing to note that I didn't say is, you know, I started to say it, designing an interest earning crypto, part of the complexity of it is because of the volatility of the market. So if you kind of think about this, you're trying to design a CD, basically a certificate of deposit. You're basically creating an interest earning savings account, right? And you have to base that on potential market value or the market volatility. And that's what I was saying earlier. You got to take all these factors into consideration, because you don't want to implement something that's going to break your crypto or going to break your system that you're trying to implement. You know, so they probably ran lots of tests. I know that this is running on testnet for a while. So they probably ran lots of scenarios, you know, if the value was this and this many people staked and the, you know, percentages. I'm sure that they did all that stuff. So yeah, this was a huge undertaking for these guys. All right, so let's look real quick. Let me minimize this junk here. We'll look at a wallet real quick. I updated the wallet last night on last night's stream whenever we were talking about all the other stuff with the banking, with the Deposits 3.0 upgrade. So I went ahead and updated my wallet. One thing I forgot to do was back up, but the way that this works, it's really low risk that something's going to happen to your actual wallet file, because it's a separate file. It's not like it's not going to overwrite that or anything. But I should have backed up, you know, copy, paste my actual wallet files before I updated the wallet. Just a little tip there. So I have the newest wallet. You have to have the newest wallet in order to participate in the new Deposits 3.0. You can't do that from the older 5.4.3. You have to have 6.0.2 or higher if you're watching this like way in the future. So you have to have 6.0.2 or higher. And yeah, that's it. So let's take a look at this real quick. So this is their wallet. Looks a lot like their website. Really cool. Consistent user interface and all that. And if you go to banking, this is just a little wallet that I've got created, a few CCX in here just for doing little demos like this. So if you go over here, you can see it's YouTube up there. So if you click on banking, and then you're going to be presented, let me minimize this down a little bit. So you're going to be presented with the new screen. This used to look a lot different because they had two different versions. You had investments and deposits, and now they've cleaned it up. It is super slick looking and not confusing at all. So it makes sense, you know. You can see over here that I actually locked, when did I lock this? I don't even know when I did it. Was it yesterday? No, it was last month, I think, is whenever I actually did it. No, it was, yeah, good grief. Getting old. Yeah, it was yesterday that I actually did this. So I was playing around with locking, that's what it was. And I locked 2, and you can see that I think I only locked it for like a month. So that way I could get to it in about a month. Just playing around with it. And you can see over here, oh, you know what I did? I think I did that before. How did this work? I don't like that. That actually was, wow, this thing's acting weird. wonder if I can, okay, so if I use my arrow keys on my keyboard, I can actually get to it. Thought I had lost it. Okay, so it looks like right here, yeah. All right, so this is a legacy deposit, so that means 2.0, right? So this is the old interest rate. So I did that before the fork. Okay, so I must have done this before they forked to implement deposits 3.0. So I'm under the old rate and all that stuff, right? So you can see here the type is legacy deposit. So cool. And this one I did yesterday, I guess, probably right after this one. And what does it say spent? Huh. It might have had to, let's see here. So I've got three in my wallet here. Let me go and look at my wallet here. So I got 3.8. It's only got 2 locked. Nothing's, oh, it's still pending. Why is it still pending? I won't even be able to stake it, I don't think. Oh, let's see. All right, so we'll play around with this and see if this works. All right, if not, I can fire up another wallet and we can do it. So if you had a whole bunch, you know, obviously it would look a lot better here if you had like 50,000, but I'm just playing around with 3 here. So, you know, I'll take my 45 cents worth of CCX here. All right, so we're gonna add all. I'm gonna go for, we'll just go for 2 months and then click create. And this is cold staking. That's what we're trying to do right here. And you can see over here that it's got a interest rate, interest earned at the end of your deposit is 0.5 because I'm getting 0.015 CCX in return, right? So 1 month or 2 months is 43,800 blocks. See if I knock that down to 1 month, it's 21,900. But I get a little less percentage, right? So the longer you stake for, the higher the interest, right? You can see as I'm clicking this up, you can see the interest is gaining. So if you go out to 12 months, whoops, go out to 12 months, it's 4, right? Because I'm in that tier, because I'm less than 10,000. If I was more than 10,000, I would be getting 5 right here, 5%. Yeah, this is really cool. That's super fair, in my opinion. All right, so we're gonna go for 2 months, create. Please note that once funds are locked in a deposit, you will not have access until maturity. Are you sure you want to proceed? Okay. So did it do it? Yeah, that was weird because it said pending down there, but let's see here. So now you see right here, it says locked 5, right? So if we go over to banking, we should see a new entry, and we do right here. Why does it say legacy deposit though? I was thinking that it would say regular deposit. Okay, so maybe this is the, I don't know. This is confusing me a little bit here because it says spent, locked. I'm assuming that this was the one I just did, but I wonder why it says legacy deposit. I would think that legacy deposit would be the old method, right? I don't know. I don't know why it's saying that. Let me see if any of the folks are in here. I don't see any of the CCX folks in here, so maybe they can break that down for me. I don't know. Let's see. So we can see that we have, if we go back to banking, or we go back to the main screen here, we have 5 CCX deposits. We earned a little bit of interest, 1.5%, I think, right? And don't know which one of these is it though. Let's see. Created was 1.5, so it's not that one. Created, this has to be it. This has to be the right one. No, this one was created in 2019 at the end of the year. So this is so these must be in order of when they were created. Yeah, okay, so this bottom one here is the one I created just now. So you can see I cold staked 3, but I got 0.015 for the 2 months. And so at the end, and that's what I was saying earlier, is it actually shows you the total here, like after your interest, you know. And I know we're dealing with like super small amounts here, okay? So obviously, you know, the more you stake, the larger your percentage is and all that stuff. So, you know, I know this is probably not a great example, but there's no way I'm going to open up my wallet and show you guys like how to do this. I mean, I could maybe do it for like a 1 month or something, but you know, there's a slight bit of game theory to it, because you know, you don't know how long to stake for. You know, you got to think about things pretty hard, you know, to make sure that you either stagger it. Like if you've got 10,000, you might want to, well, yeah, if you got 10,000, you would probably want to do all of it to get that extra 1%. So there's a lot of things you can think about. Let's say you have 8,000, so you have, actually, if you have more than 10,000, you would want to do it all at once, because see, that's the game theory part of it, right? So if you have 10,001, you might want to stake all of it to gain that extra 1%. But if you have 8,000, you might want to spread it out to where it unlocks over, you know, each month it unlocks 2,000 of it or something, so that you get the most amount of interest with not risking not being able to access your funds if the price goes up a lot, right? So there's a lot of game theory to it. I'm just trying to catch up with the chat. Y'all are over there talking it up. That's good. All right. So I think that's it, man. I've been going for 45 minutes. That's a lot longer than I wanted it to be. Anybody got any questions that I might be able to answer about CCX? I'm not an expert, but I can maybe, if I don't know the answer, I could probably look it up. Yeah, you can see right here, not right here, you can see right here, their all-time high was almost 86 in July. All-time low, less than 3 cents back in December. Yeah, don't mix up CCX and Rio. Don't do that. Yeah, I actually have to catch myself every time. Almost every time I forget. But it's kind of easy to remember because Conceal has their own, right? So if you look at, you know, their Kryptonite Conceal is what the algorithm is actually called, but some places have it written a little bit different. So if you go to, say, for example, Overcooked Panda's database, I think that's where I saw it. Yeah, see, they call it Kryptonite CCX, which is actually a little bit inaccurate. I mean, not inaccurate, it's how they want to name it, but I think it's Kryptonite Conceal is the correct way to write it. And then Rio is CN GPU, and the way that I remember that is Rio devs have, you know, they're the same for XMR Stack, and they want GPUs to be basically any GPU to be able to mine their project. So that's kind of like the easiest way of remembering that. CN GPU for Rio, and Kryptonite CCX or Kryptonite Conceal for Conceal. Yeah. Scott Tyner. I'm just getting in and pointed at 2070. Okay, so you've got 2070 or 2060. Okay, so for overclock settings, base overclock settings, what I would do is head over to, I was just there, Overcooked Pandas, just to get a baseline. But I'll be honest with you, what I have found that works pretty well, obviously depending on the specific algorithm, but in general, if you go by what to mine has, so let's say for example 2060, so 100 core, 200 plus 200 memory, 70% TDP. So depending on which 2060 you have, you'd have to look up your thermal design power on the specifications of the actual GPU. So look up your GPU on specs online, look up TDP, or it might be called max power or something like that. So look that up and then run 70% of that in your overclock settings. And then for the 2070, it looks like it's probably the same. Yeah. Actually, 2070 is 75% TDP. Now, I found that if you want a stable, decent baseline, not fine-tuned overclock setting, just go with this. And you probably won't have crashes. You probably won't have a lot of problems, right? So that's, I mean, if you were to look at my overclock settings, I think that that's probably what you'll see. And actually here, because I'm mining, these are AMD, but yeah, the overclock settings are going to be kind of weird on here because I was playing around with them. But let's see, I don't have an NVIDIA rig up right now, actually, because see that top rig right there is actually NVIDIA. It's not. It's just on for the looks. It's actually not even booted into an OS or anything, so it's just kind of like powered on, just sucking up power, doing nothing. Yeah, so I would head over to 2060 Super. Okay, so yeah, let's go back to what I was gonna say. So if you go over to Overcooked Pandas database, overclock database that's hanging off of coin2mine.today. If you go there, and you should be able to, now again, I kind of mentioned this at the top, you know, Kryptonite or Conceal is a small project, right? A small market cap, not a whole lot of volume, you know, all those things that lead it to maybe not that many people mining it, okay? So you might find a situation where you won't have the GPU and anyone actually using it, because I believe that this information in this database here is actually pulled from Hive OS. I think that they access, probably through like an API or something, that they access the database and they just pull into here to show how many people have a certain GPU and what overclock settings they're using. So in your case, let's see, you said it was a 2060, see if I can find that, 2060 Super. Okay, CCX, and then if you click search, see there's nothing. So what you have to do is you probably just need to kind of look around and find something that hopefully maybe someone with a 1070. Nope. Let's see here. Yeah, because I mean, it's not, CCX isn't really an NVIDIA friendly, you know, because it's Kryptonite, right? So Kryptonote. So it's more geared towards AMD. So most people are not going to be mining it with NVIDIA cards. I was hoping to maybe find at least one, but yeah, see, there's nothing. So what you can do is just clear it out. If you're running into that problem, just click the down arrow here and choose the blank spot here, and then click search, and you'll get all kinds of results. I wasn't getting results before, was it? Yeah. So then you can just look through here, find a GPU that's close, and in this case, you're not going to find one because they're all AMD. Yep, so that's the way you can kind of do that. But again, you can just start at what to mine and look at whatever it is up here that they have listed for your specific GPU, and it's going to be pretty solid. If you got time on your hands and you really want to fine tune it, go ahead. But you know, that's a good starting point for sure. All right, so no more questions on CCX or deposits 3.0 or anything like that. If not, I'm going to get out of here because it is getting late here where I'm at. Been going almost an hour, and I wanted to make this like 15 minutes, and y'all got me going off for an hour. But that's all right, because I like it. I like talking crypto. This is like the only time I get to talk crypto all day, so it actually works out pretty good for me. All right, so that's going to do it. I will probably be live tomorrow, most likely, maybe not Wednesday. I wish I had like a schedule down like Red Panda does with doing the premieres. I tried it that 1 week. I did pretty well. I want to say I did a premiere every day for 1 week, but it's really hard, really hard. To do a premiere during the day, like right after Red Panda, and also do a live stream at night, it's really difficult, content-wise. Because you know, if the market was going crazy and everything was mooning, it would be a lot easier because there'd be a lot more interest and a lot more news. But it's just so hard to. I'm probably making an excuse. There's probably plenty of news out there. It's just whether or not I want to cover it, and I don't really want to be geared only towards like project news type stuff, although it seems like that's what I kind of do the most of. And I don't know if anybody else that really does that specific, like in-depth, like this. This was fairly in-depth, I guess. I don't know if there's a lot of other people doing stuff like that on a specific like small cap project like that, but I don't know. It's hard, you know. It's difficult, but I'll make it work somehow. Oh, okay, cool, Red Panda. What are you going to be going live for? What's going on? You're going to try to get caught up on your rig picks? you're like, how many months behind still? That's crazy. All right, so I know I keep saying I'm leaving, but you know, you guys are talking crypto, so it makes it easy to stay. All right, yeah, I'm gonna get out of here because if I don't, I'm just gonna keep on talking. I have no idea what I'll do content-wise tomorrow. I will decide between now and tomorrow night. Like this, I literally was kind of preparing maybe half an hour before I went live, so very little prep time on this. Yeah, 2 or 3 months behind. That's crazy. All right, so I'll see you guys tomorrow night. Again, I probably won't do a premiere unless I just really get a lot of energy here in a minute to actually record one. So we'll see. Stay savage, everybody. Take care.